today. Tomorrow, Wednesday, we have a speaker. Thursday is the new March Award ceremony. Friday is the dedication of the coyote statue, right? Right up front. Saturday, the game. When my other athletes play this weekend. We're going to be running, we're going to be playing volleyball. We're playing volleyball this weekend. Lindsay, where are you? Where's Lindsay? Chester? Isn't Lindsay in this class?
She's not here yet.
Oh, okay. I'm like calling her out. Tell her you've been calling on her. She doesn't make class.
But we're going to North Dakota and Brookings.
When do you go to North Dakota?
Friday.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Haley, let me know. Got you. All right. Well, Lindsay. All right. Well, welcome back. Today I have all sorts of information for you. On the introductory slide, you'll see two points, two additional items that I'm going to announce. I'm going to try to get you out of here early so you can enjoy this nice weather, right? You're going to drop it. First thing is, you are getting ready for your persuasive speech. Very seriously, I hope that you leave here with some questions answered about just how you strategize for your persuasive speech. I'll give you some insightful, creative, and interesting and fun ways to consider how to strategize and the core purposes that you have for speaking to persuade. The other thing that I have for you is more of an announcement. We have the group advocacy speech that is happening after your persuasive speech. And we introduce that now so that you can start thinking about your topics. And we form groups for that speech around your topic choice and interest. And the process is very much like your persuasive speech, where you will submit 3 topic ideas and a justification of each. And then your lab instructor will help form those groups. And so we'll talk about that today. And then I want to make an announcement. We have resurrected Speakers Night in the department. And I say that with enthusiasm because I think it's fun. It'll happen on Tuesday, December 4th. Okay? So mark your calendars early and be thinking about if you would like to be the top speaker. The top speaker out of 462 Speak 101 students this fall semester. More than a line item on the resume. This could bring you accolades, fame, and money. True story. We are giving away money for textbooks. And I had to go around. I had to be better on campus. Speaking really fast. So what's up at stake is Barnes & Noble gift certificate, Kindle Fire, the newest version of Kindle. That's of interest. We're giving a Kindle Fire for one of the champions, and then also as a door prize. So if you are in attendance that night, you might be the lucky winner of a Kindle Fire. Money for books, we have Java City gift certificates and Coyote apparel. We will take as many submissions as you would like to self-nominate, or maybe you'll encourage a course peer. Maybe your lab instructor is going to say, hey, I think you should submit your speech into this first round. We will judge the first round by the recorded speeches from your lab meetings, okay? So it will require no extra work for you, but other than ultimately you have to agree and, like I said, be self-nominated or be encouraged by a peer to submit your name or a lab instructor. We will whittle it down to 5 top speakers, okay? So after this persuasive round, we'll take nominations. We graduate students are going to have a good couple bottles of wine and an evening of watching those speeches, right? I don't know, probably not wine. We better keep it.
Keep sober?
Keep sober. We'll watch the first round. We'll whittle that down. We'll announce the 5, and then those 5 will compete on December 4th. That is Dead Week. Are you in tune with what Dead Week is here on campus? Okay, Dead Week is something that the provost reinstituted. There are no tests, exams, additional work that is required for you the week before finals. And that part of that is Dead Week. And what I have planned in this class is that Speakers Night, and so we won't have class that Tuesday. But I want you to come to the Muff Ballroom Speakers Night. And then that Thursday we have a Jeopardy review game for the final in class. kind of a light week. You will be giving ceremonial speeches in your lab meetings that week, but that will be the dead week before finals week. So that's going on. Any questions on the process of Speakers Night? I'm excited for it. I'm excited to tell you that we are inviting quasi-celebrity judges, President Jim Abbott or Colette. We haven't decided. I think Elena, you're kind of in the know on that in terms of who you're securing for judges. We kicked around some ideas of some regional politicians, campus figureheads, student government reps. We need 3 speech judges, for that evening. So if you have ideas for celebrity judges, you know, after class as well. That should be a good thing. And lots of fun and a great showcase of your skills as speakers in the class. So, like I said, Tuesday, December the 4th. So, all right, any other questions? Let's get started, right? So today we're talking about persuasive strategy. I was thinking about this as I was dusting over the weekend. I was dusting off my P90X. Anyone else on P90X? I think that would be dusty, but boy, that was dusty. And I thought, how is it that I was persuaded to buy P90X? It sent me back $100 or so, I think. And why do those infomercials work? How many of you have purchased anything from an infomercial? There's a lone soul in the middle of it, right? I'm really doing that, a couple of you. Yeah. And for some of us, that doesn't work for whatever reason, or maybe you're just not admitting to that. But this is Vince, okay? And Vince sells the ShamWow. Have you seen this commercial? I won't torture you with the entire thing, and we'll hang on. Watch the strategy embedded in this sales pitch.
Wow. You'll be saying wow every time you use this towel. It's like a chamois, it's like a towel, it's like a sponge. A regular towel doesn't work well. This works wet or dry. This is for the house, the car, the boat, the RV. ShamWow holds 20 times its weight in liquid. Look at it. It just does the work. Why do you want to work twice as hard? Doesn't make a mess. You wash it in the washing machine. Made in Germany. You know the Germans always make good stuff. You can cut it in half. One is a bath mat, draining dishes with the other one. One is a towel. Olympic divers, they use it as a towel. Look at that, completely dry. Put a wet sweater, roll it up, and dries your sweaters. Here's some cola. Wine, coffee, cola, head stain. Not only is the damage going to be on top, there's your mildew. That is going to smell. See that? The most of we're going to do this in real time. Look at this. Put on the spill, turn it over without even putting any pressure. 50% of the cola right there. You follow me, camera guy? The other 50%, the color starts to come up. No other towel's going to do that. It acts like a vacuum, and it's just virtually dry in the bottom. See what I'm telling you? ShamWow, you'll be saying wow every time. I can't live without it. I just love it. Oh my gosh, not even my thing without it. It's going to work for you. You'll be out of your mind.
All I can say is, Sam, wow.
Okay, so tell me, who is the target audience in a commercial like that? Old people, really? How many of you have ever spilled anything on your carpet? All of you, almost all of you, right? So, okay, old people and young people that spill, here's college kids that spill stuff on their carpet. So almost anyone might be a target for this product, right? And what's the motivation of the sellers of ShamWow? Shamelessly sell as many products as possible, right? And what kind of persuasive strategy, and you don't have to label you don't have to use the correct label. If you can, that's great. What kind of strategy are they using to reach this consumer base? What are they doing? Demonstration. Testimony. Was it expert or lay testimony? Yeah, this is Susan off the street. Okay, yeah, try to get credibility to this. Those Germans, they need great products. Also, actually an argument fallacy, which we'll talk about next week. Process is easy, right? Outlining how easy and showing just how it works. And so think about, okay, from Vince to your own persuasive strategy. Let's take a little leap here. How is it that you will plan your message? How is it that you will reach your audience? Who is your target audience? Ask yourself, who am I speaking to? Well, you know, our course peers are a gathered, collective, confined bunch. They can't escape your message unless they go running and screaming from the room, at which point I hope you haven't made them do that. But think about the audience that you have gathered, listening to your message. Who are they? What do they need in terms of how you adapt your message? Now, I don't mean pander. I don't want you to tell them what they want to hear. That's an unethical choice that a speaker makes. But how is it that you adapt the message, the take-home message for your audience to what they need, and how they'll receive that message? Now, who's watching the ShamWow infomercial? Old people. Who's watching the P90X commercials? Obviously, middle-aged married women awaken at 11:30 at night, right? Actually, I noticed that P90X is on all the time. This is an entire channel to go to the infomercial. I don't know. Okay, so consider who it is that your target and you're targeting, and or who's listening, and what their needs are, and what motivates people. Why am I buying P90X? Why are consumers going out and as seen on TV, buying ShamWow at Walmart right now? What motivates people? If it works, because they think they need it, they've been convinced, they've converted, they've gone from thinking, oh, they don't need it, to thinking they need it. Maybe they've been die-hard brawny paper towel users their whole life, and they switch over to ShamWow, right? Maybe they're a little bit environmentally minded. Maybe that's been a push of the sale, and they think that way. Psychologists will tell us that humans make decisions based on many reasons. Some of our most basic level of motivation has to do with the fact that human beings avoid pain and usually seek pleasure, things that feel right, that are in line with their values, or that are okay, that they know that they can do. Abraham Maslow created this hierarchy of needs, which is more than just a pretty triangle, is it not? But it outlines our highest and lowest order of needs and wants. What are the most low order basic needs that a human being has?
Food, shelter, water.
Just below safety, yes, is food, shelter, water, oxygen. We have to make sure that we have those basic needs met before we reach some of those higher order needs. At the very top are our self-actualization needs and our identity needs and maintenance in who we are. You know, I see this many times in appeals made by persuasive strategists. I had a smoke alarm salesman come to my home when my little boy was an infant. He's 8 years old, so that was 8 years ago. And in an unethical way of strategizing, he showed me pictures. You know what he showed me pictures of? He showed me pictures of burned cribs. Not burned babies, burned cribs. How many dollars worth of smoke alarms did Amy Sorensen buy that day? Oh yes, about $1,400 worth of smoke alarms for our home. And my husband said, what would prompt you to buy more today with that money? And I talked to him about the sales guy. And that salesperson was addressing some of those lowest order needs, the safety of our home. And it worked. Was it ethical? Do you think it was? Probably not. I didn't, but it worked. So think about the needs of your audience, and also think of your ethics as a speaker. And how is it that you draw attention to the needs of your topic, if that's appropriate. And ask yourself what you want to achieve, and also what resistance might be existent in your audience. You have a diverse audience. Is a hostile audience always necessarily a negative connotation? No. By this definition, no. In this book, A Hostile, Zareski is defining a hostile audience as an audience that holds very different views from your own. Values and beliefs, your values and beliefs are not aligned. And so you really need to get in the mind of your audience and think about how they perceive you, how they perceive your topic, and modify and adjust your purpose as necessary. Now I'm going to talk to you about 4 purposes today. This comes straight out of your book, okay? You can write these down, you can read them in your book. I'm going to quiz you on these in the upcoming minutes. but write these down. I'll go through each one. When we persuade, we consider 4 different purposes. Are you looking at your audience and are you going to strengthen or weaken their commitment to something? Are you going to attempt to change your mind or have a complete conversion? Will that likely happen in 4 to 5 minutes of persuasive speech? A complete change in their mind? No, most likely not. And I came in here one of the very first class periods that we had. And remember when we talked about the continuum of influence? And I think we used distracted driving as the example that day. And you're not likely to change someone's mind in 4 to 5 minutes, but you might make an incremental change. You might move them along that continuum, and that can be considered a weakening or a strengthening of a commitment, but not a complete change. And then finally, another purpose of persuasive speech might be to call someone to action, to induce a specific action. Smoking is bad. Remember, smoking is bad for 3 reasons. Someone might quit smoking as a result of your smoking is bad speech. I'm not sure. It's a pretty weak thesis statement. But smoking is going to be illegal on this campus, is it not? Did you read that in the law? So those of you that are smoking outside of the library, take it downtown. You'll be doing that on campus. Okay, so let's first define strengthening commitment. When do we see this? We see this when you want to reaffirm someone's values on a given topic. Right? Say you were a Republican nominee speaking at the Republican convention. You are strengthening commitment for the majority of those in attendance. That is an example of someone speaking to a group that is seeking to strengthen commitment. This happened the other day at my son's parochial school. He goes to a small parochial school in this community. And they gathered a bunch of us parents, and we were target audience because they were fundraising. That never happens in parochial schools, does it? It happens in public schools too, does it not? With Quest Education, I'm sure we've seen more and more fundraising for education. And they had a captive audience, and they had us gathered, and they were asking for money. And they were wanting to strengthen our commitment with the Christian values that are, by reminding us of the Christian values that are offered in this small parochial school, and how our money, our dollars can go to support and save their endeavor. Did it work? Oh yeah, Amy Sorensen giving away more money. Was it an ethical appeal? Yeah. There are several approaches that you might strategize in using when you're using the purpose of, or adopting the purpose of strengthening someone's commitment. You can conscious phrase, just like they were doing over at St. Agnes. They were reminding us of our own values as Christians, and they were bringing forth those values. They were reminding us of the importance of those values to us, so they were conscious raising. You might move from education to commitment when you use this purpose. You sometimes have to inform someone before you persuade them. You have to give them the details, the background, the history, before they really understand the need for the change that you're calling on. And so think about times when you have to educate before you persuade. I think the cryonic speech, I think she did a nice job of informing us about the topic before calling on us to consider the ease of such a process. Increasing a sense of urgency. This happens especially now in this general election year. Do we not? They're getting the vote out. You know, your vote is important. It's timely because I think I heard on the radio this morning 6,000 South Dakotans have cast their vote in the general election already by way of absentee voting. Anyone doing that right now? I suppose when you're away from, good for you, vote. The issue is important. It can be decided either way. It will be decided soon, or your listeners' actions matter. So you want to create that sense of urgency. The next purpose that you have might be a weekend commitment. Oh, hang on one second. I wanted to embed this in here. I'm not going to take too much time here, but how many of you have ever had to fundraise for anything? A lot of you. I was online. I enjoyed this site, this Toastmasters International site. This is a good resource for speakers or for anyone that has to lead a group. And there was a great online article here that I ran across last week, how to ask for money, tips from a fundraising consultant. And she posits that your first words matter, and I believe that. And she said, this is a great article, I won't read the entire thing, but there are a number of ways you can start a speech in which you're asking for money. You might want to pose a problem. Here's a list of problems community and organizations that might tackle them. She says, millions of people worldwide will go to bed sleep. No one should ever be paralyzed by polio again, and children who have nothing to do after school are likely to get in trouble. And at the heart of the matter is the heart. This online consultant says you want to give them, you want to give people a reason to give, but first you want to touch their heart. And I think that was an interesting online article. And so I embedded that into the notes for today. I have been to the local Toastmasters. They meet in the New Heart Freedom Forum over the noon hour on, is it Tuesday? Yeah, Thursday afternoon? I think I was broken maybe. Yes. Yeah, and the question was, have you ever been to the local Toastmasters meeting? I'm going to actually find out when they meet, and I can give you some brownie points for going. If you want to weaken someone's commitment to something, smoking or what would be another topic idea that you're going to weaken someone's commitment? So you're trying to sway them one way or the other. Find a critical distinction. Find that point in which they're wavering. Someone's commitment is very complex, and you might be able to really wrap your mind about how they view any given topic. And look for critical distinctions, gaps in which you might tap into and provide a little bit of an alternative. You might refute something, you might challenge, criticize, and build an argument against something. You might challenge an audience's commitment that way. And certainly you might have to rebuild arguments. You have to know all sides of a controversy and issue and be able to respond to criticism about it. And so with my trite example of smoking is bad, I have to know of some of the arguments against that, some of the challenges to freedom of choice for smokers, and some of the complexities of the other side. And so you have to take into consideration those elements when you're weakening commitment. There are definite steps that are outlined in your book that I don't have time to go through today, but if you need to, and you will have to at some point in time, refute an argument, there are steps you need to take as a disciplined speaker, and if you've been in debate, you've studied these steps, right? Stephen Toulon, add a wordplay, that you decide on the grounds for refutation, and you develop your response accordingly. You identify the position to be attacked, you explain the significance of the position you're attacking, you present and develop the attack, and you explain the impact of your refutation. And so you can train yourself as well to refute an argument. I think some of the most valuable teaching moments I have ever had happen in a class, a smaller lab, and I hope this happens in your labs today. I'm afraid we don't have time. But it's the speeches are always good, but it's the question and answer, the Q&A sessions that happen after a speech. When a persuasive speech has elicited a response by the audience, and that speaker has to refute or defend or criticize, and those are the real learning moments for students. I've always felt that. And I wish that we had more time in our labs for such a response. And it also takes quite a bit of savviness to promote and uphold the dialogue. And that's always, I enjoy teaching leading students on that path and giving them that opportunity. Final purpose that you might have for, your third purpose is conversion. Third, this is more difficult than strengthening or weakening, as we've been talking about. It's probably not going to happen in a 4 to 5 minute speech. But if you want to change someone's mind, and we've changed our mind as a society over time about quite a few different issues, right? Civil rights, women's rights, equal pay. We've seen a shift in the way that we view the environment, right? How about gay rights? Do you think we're making headway on the way that people view that issue? Do you think we've changed minds? I know the minute I think we have, I think we take a step backwards. Do we not? Do we not? Okay, so think about strategies that might work when you're trying to change someone's mind. You're building a campaign against something. You chip away at their beliefs. You work on the periphery. You don't jump right in and tackle big issues without knowing your audience. You have to be very, very careful about how you attack something. And so you start small. You chip away on the edges. You identify a pattern of anomalies. You bring forth for people patterns and gaps in reasoning, and you provide that answer. You employ conscious raising again. You could seek incremental change. The use of reluctant testimony can certainly be valuable. And I didn't, when I read through the textbook again, I wasn't sure that Zabreski did a very sound job of describing reluctant testimony. And so I wanted to use the example of this. Reluctant testimony is when someone has vested interest, or you have someone who is making testimony that is a statement that is at odds with their own interests. So, for instance, you have we faculty and staff on campus who are ranting and raving about the smoking that's going on outside the building. Students are saying, heck with you. But the moment that you have students start to speak on behalf of the university, also you listen. So you have Alyssa Van Meederen, who you know as your student vice president, adopt this as one of her platforms in her campaign last year, and then she followed through with that. And she put herself at risk as a student, but then did follow through and spoke out on behalf against smoking on campus, and now it's codified, and yes, indeed, smoking will be illegal in 2013 on campus. Illegal? Banned? Outlawed? How will they enforce that?
Self-enforcement.
What do you mean?
Basically, you see someone smoking, they're encouraging you to say, hey, we don't allow smoking on campus. It's not like campus security is going to go around policing it.
Well, you know me. Smoking is bad. I was standing in front of this. You watch, someone will witness this. Smoking is bad for 3 reasons. Smoking is unhealthy, smoking is unattractive, and smoking is illegal. And I'm going to say that to my students of the library. They are going to know I'm going to say, hey, honey, you're sorry. Nuts. Yeah, I've tried to copy me. Okay. Finally, you might take on the purpose of inducing a specific action. So get out and vote now, or to give blood now, or quit smoking, are all ways in which you call on your audience to take action. You move them from belief to action. You ask them to put their money where their mouth is. You look at discrepancies between attitude and behavior. You look at how their behavior may change. Behavior may change without behavior and change in attitude. I'm struggling with those words, aren't you? You have to make the process easy. You have to outline it very precisely for your audience and motivate them into action. They have to be able to believe that they can do it, or that their actions make a difference, and outline that process for them. Love it or hate it, the blood donations. Was that blood donation? Yeah, blood donation speech that I showed in this class. She outlined the process and made it very easy. She even addressed some of the fears that people have of needles, right? Do you remember how she described the needle as a
Scratch. Wasn't it a scratch?
Yeah, like a scratch on her arm. Yeah, there you go. All of this brings me to almost to my speech of the day. When you plan your persuasive speech strategy, you'll have to ask yourself, what are the most useful for you, for this particular audience? What general resources might you use in order to make this happen? And how is it that you're going to organize your speech? Make use of the tools that we have available to you. We have the generic speech outline, which helps you organize your speech. I always encourage students to look at Monroe's motivated sequence, especially if you can problematize an issue. Then you can try and follow the 5 steps of Monroe's motivated sequence. Or take a look at what most appropriately fits your speech. Okay, so at this point in time, I envisioned you, and you are, and I have Josie on me. I have embedded a speech by Eric Thomas, who is a hip-hop preacher. How many have heard of Eric Thomas? He is a life coach and motivational speaker. The cut-in on this speech is about at the quarter point of the speech, so we missed the introduction completely. He's in a lecture hall very much like this. And his topic of the day is success. How bad do you want it? He speaks in an unconventional fashion. His delivery is a little bit unorthodox and he's in your face. But I want you to identify some of the persuasive strategies that Eric Thomas uses, okay? This is about a 6-minute speech. It's a little hokey and kind of corny towards the end because there's embedded music. But sit back and enjoy the show, and here it is.
And the story is about, you guys have probably heard about this before. It was a young man who, he wanted to make a lot of money, so he went to the guru, right? So the guru, I want to be on the same level you are. And so the guru said, if you want to be on the same level I'm on, I'll meet you tomorrow at the beach at 4 a.m. He liked the beach. I said, I want to make money. I don't want to swim. Guru said, if you want to make money, I'll meet you tomorrow, 4 a.m. So the young man got there at 4 a.m. He already rock and roll, got on a suit. He should have worn shorts. The old man grabs his hand and said, how bad do you want to be successful? He said, real bad. He said, walk on out in the water. So he walks out into the water. Watch this. When he walks out into the water, it goes waist deep. So he's like, this guy crazy. Hey, man, I want to make money. He got me out here swimming. I didn't ask to be a lifeguard. I want to make money. He got me in. So he said, come out a little further. Walked out a little further. Then he had it right around in this area. The shoulder area. So this old man crazy. He making money, but he's crazy. He said, come on out a little further. He came out a little further. Was right in his mouth. My man, like, I'm about to go back in. This child is mine. So the old man said, I thought you said you wanted to be successful. He said, I do. He said, walk a little further. He came, dropped his head in, held him down, hold him down. My man getting scratchy, holding him down. I got you. I know you brushed it out, but I got you. He had him held down. I need you for illustration. He had him held down. Just before my man was about to pass out, he raised him up. He said, I got a question for you. Somebody answer the question for me. He said, when you were underwater, what did you want to do? Lee, I'm looking for a different word, brother. Lee. What's that word? He said, I wanted to breathe. He told the guy, he said, when you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful. I don't know how many of y'all got asthma here today, but if you ever had an asthma attack before, you short of breath, SOB, shortness of breath, you wheezing. The only thing you're trying to do is get some air. You don't care about no basketball game. You don't care what's on TV. You don't care about nobody calling you. You don't care about a party. The only thing you care about when you're trying to breathe is to get some fresh air. That's it. And when you get to the point where all you want to do is be successful as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful. And I'm here to tell you, number one, that most of you say you want to be successful, but you don't want it bad. You just kind of want it. You don't want it bad and you want to party. You don't want it as much as you want to be cool. Most of you don't want success as much as you want to sleep. Some of you love sleep more than you love success. And I'm here to tell you today, if you're going to be successful, you've got to be willing to give up sleep. You got to be willing to work off for 3 hours of sleep, 2 hours. If you really want to be successful, some days you will have to stay up 3 days in a row. Because if you go to sleep, you might miss the opportunity to be successful. That's how bad you got to want it. You got to go days without, listen to me, you got to want to be successful so bad that you forget to eat. Beyonce said once she was on the set doing her thing, 3 days had gone by, she forgot she didn't eat. Because she was engaged. I never forget when 50 Cent was doing the movie, I did a little research on 50, and 50 said that when he wasn't doing the movie, he was doing the soundtrack. And they said, when do you sleep, 50? Sleep. He said, sleep. Sleep is for those people who are broke. I don't sleep. Said, I got an opportunity to make a dream become a reality. Football players, how many football players? Got anybody like football in here? Raise your hand. Anybody like football? Emmitt Smith. I used to be a Cowboy fan before they did my boy Tom Landry role. I used to be a Cowboy fan. And watch this, there was a commercial. Emmitt Smith had won his first Super Bowl. He had this commercial, he was lifting weights. I don't know if you saw the commercial. He was lifting, and Emmitt said, you know what? I won the Super Bowl, so I can rest now. Yeah, he was doing his bench press. So he said, I won the Super Bowl, so I can rest now. So he goes to about 325, boom. And he rests for about 2 seconds. And boom. think I'm gonna take a rest, and you rest for how long? 1 second. Most of you won't be successful because when you study it and you get tired, you quit. I'm here to tell you today, if you got somebody came to my office the other day crying. I said, look, don't cry to give up. Cry to keep going. Don't cry to quit. You already in pain. You already hurt. Get a root.
It's out fast too, sorry. The entire lecture is it's like 51 minutes long. This is just a short snippet. But it's my favorite. It's my favorite part. Don't cry to go on. Don't cry to give up. Cry to go on. I love that. Well, what was his message? That's right. You say you want it, but how do you prove that, right? What types of strategy did he use? And I'll help you frame it up. I'll help you identify the exact supporting material if you don't know it. Yeah, okay, so he built identification with this particular audience by drawing in celebrity appeals that they would identify. 50 Cent, Beyonce, Emmett Smith, Tom Landry, right? Yeah, he used a sense of urgency. Yeah. And I bet the performance of some of those students in that very class was a little questionable. How bad do you want it? You really called them out on it. Built a strong sense of urgency. Good. He made use of brief, extended, and hypothetical examples, right? How long did it take him to get to the breath one? I wrote that down here too. When you want to succeed as much as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful. But it took him a good minute and a half to reach that point, right? He used a blend of inductive and deductive reasoning. Inductive reasoning is when you use specific examples to show your audience particular cases. Deductive reasoning is where you provide a major premise and a minor premise, and then you leave your audience to make the conclusion. And so overall, he had a deductive argument, and also within the reasoning, he provided specific examples. He used argument by analogy. He used argument by sign. He said, most of you say you want to be successful. Expert testimony, if you could call Beyonce 50 Cent expert testimony. Anything else I'm missing? Are there any lines that remain with you? Maybe I've said them all. Did I hit the high points? Do you like to watch this type of rhetoric? Is this a little more appealing than textbook rhetoric? It's moving as well. Yes. Yeah, right. Right, and the delivery has an impact as well. The other day, we took in Phil Davidson for Stark County Treasurer in Ohio, and his delivery overshadowed the content, where Eric Thomas nailed the delivery, and that was true to himself, right? I think he was following his compass due north. He spoke in a tone and style that fit him. And this is the place where you start to hone your style and build your voice. A good friend of mine once told me, here's another quote, here's another writer down. When your heart and mind agree, you find your voice. And I think that's a good quote. When your heart and mind agree, you find your voice. And I don't know who to credit that quote, but I think that's a good thing. And certainly Eric Thomas has found his voice in life. Okay, so I want to talk to you about a couple more things, and we'll take a quiz. I'm going to get you out of here, all right? So how is it that you establish your credibility? Because your credibility is vital as a speaker. How is it that you combat resistance that will be present in your audience? You need to be a credible voice. And you establish, you build, and you have credibility that remains with your audience by way of initial, derived, and terminal credibility. All right? The initial credibility is the credibility that you hold in the hearts and minds and souls of your audience before you even step in front of them. It's the perceptions and the assumptions and the stereotypes that they've been making about you this entire 5 weeks or 6 weeks, whichever week you're on. your audience already hold assumptions about you. Do you want to keep in line with those assumptions? Do you want to challenge those assumptions? Do you not want to be the class clown? Do you want to be the serious boy? Or can you be both? Do you not want to be that quiet, shy person in the back who's afraid to speak? Do you want to blossom in front of your lab section? But think about the credibility, your ethos that you hold with your audience. Your derived credibility is built throughout your speech. This is what is built with the claims that you make and that you back up and the argument that you present and you support in front of your audience. And the terminal credibility is what remains with your audience long after you've spoken. Will you remember Eric Thomas, the hip-hop speaker? Most of you like to go, and it's what remains with you about that speaker as a result of what they shared. And all of you, each and every one of you, can remember certain speakers. They remain with you. They have great terminal credibility. And maybe they remain with you for a negative reason. Maybe Phil Davison, you dismiss him because of his delivery. You think, oh, he might be okay, but that guy's crazy. And that has negative terminal credibility. When you speak, especially when you speak to persuade, you have to convey confidence. And you do so by being organized, being structured, being logical and strategic in your argument structure. You have to be trustworthy as a source, and you have to be dynamic. You have to believe in your message, or your audience will not believe in you. Do you think that I believe in public speaking? I sure as heck hope that I convey that every single day, and I hope that you leave here with that feeling. The last thing that I have to say to you is that you need to focus your goals. You need to limit your goals for this speech. You have 4 to 5 minutes. You have to really wrap your mind around what it is that you want to accomplish. What is your purpose? Think about that. Think of one of the 4 purposes that I presented today, and argue incrementally. Build that argument very, very carefully. Before we take the quiz, I'm going to tell you about the group advocacy speech. You will be asked to think about an issue, and an advocacy speech brings forth a voice for an otherwise silenced demographic, group, cause, belief, animal. Build a city of the will. You build a campaign against distracted driving. But a campaign, an advocacy campaign, provides a voice for an otherwise silenced group. When you save the Water Filter Project in Africa is one that remains with me. It's very powerful. But the Water Filter Project, the Life Straw Project, have you ever seen the Life Straws where there are filters built right in a straw where people who are living in areas with very limited access to fresh water can drink contaminated water and filtered through straws. It was very powerful. And they were raising awareness and promoting the philanthropic cause of giving money to the Life Straw. Think about issues from all sorts of different levels. There are issues that you can adopt right here in local issues. That we have a thriving backpack program here in Clay County. Did you know that there are hunger needs in Clay County? That breaks my heart because here I stand with my clean white shirt and plenty of money to go to the grocery store and buy food, and yet there are kids in our community that deal with hunger. And so there are local issues, there are state issues, there are national and as you know, international issues. But think about, as you frame up these issues, a political, a social, or an environmental issue. Identify 2 of each, and then we'll go on to the quiz. What are 2 environmental issues from any level, a local up to an international level, that you might choose, that might be interesting to hear? Should we start with soft issues? Think of 2 social issues. What's that? Hunger, yeah, I think hunger would be a social issue, yeah. Here's one. Texting and driving, that might be under social/political, yeah? What are some environmental issues? Recycling, very good. Littering, good. And what about a couple of political issues, straight up political issues? Healthcare reform, good. Do you have anything that's near to your heart on campus? say anything about air mark? Do you want to say anything about parking? Do you want to say anything about door lines? Do you want to say anything about exit? Maybe you don't have any issues. I don't know. Smoking ban. Maybe you want our son smoking ban. Yeah. You have issues. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, there you go. Then you need to frame that up and submit it. Here, there you go. Okay. You get the idea? Your lab instructors will be leading you through those. How many of you are in Monday labs? You are lucky and unlucky all at the same time. Because you have such a limited meeting time, your lab instructors will be communicating with you primarily through email. Let's take this quick and done. Ready?